everyone, welcome back to another scrapbook layout video, and thank you for joining me again today. So today I am of course playing with the new Doodlebug Hippity Hoppity collection, and I am in love. I love how this layout turns out and the next layout. I'm having so much fun playing with this collection. You guys know me and my love of Doodlebug, so I'm sure you're not surprised at all. But every time they come out with a collection, especially their Easter ones, I always say they can't make them any cuter than this, and they always do. So I love this. It's got some of the cutest little bunnies, and I had this idea for this layout, and I kind of wanted to make it into a scene. So I'll explain what I'm doing here. This is a cloud stencil by My Favorite Things. Now, there's plenty, this is super old, years old, and there's lots of other cloud stencils out there, and I can link to those below if you would like. All I'm doing is I'm taking ink. Any ink will work. It's how you play around with it if you practice on a practice sheet first if you need to. I lay the ink, I kind of dot the ink onto the stencil, and then I push it up onto the page. You can kind of see me dotting it onto the stencil there, and then pushing it up onto the paper. And I wanted really, really subtle clouds, so I know you can barely see them in the video, but I wanted the clouds to be really subtle. I did show a little bit of the inking. I tried to show you there, sorry, but it wouldn't focus. I did show you a little bit of the inking of these grass borders, but I must have lost that footage. I'm a little bummed about that, but it's okay. All I did was kind of the same thing with that brown mat that I use. And I put green ink kind of along on the mat, and then I would gently and slowly, because of the spikes of the grass, pull the green ink onto the grass. And you can see there, it just gives a little bit more dimension to those grassy heel borders. Now, those are lawn fawn grass dye borders, and they are only like not even 6 inches long because I had to do it 3 times, I think. So I don't think that just because it's made for a card that it won't work for a layout too, and I will link below. Now they have slimline ones. I thought about getting those just to make it a little easier to get the borders, but these worked fine, and I don't use them often enough. But if you're purchasing them for the first time, then the slimline ones might be better if you're going to use them for 12 by 12 lengths or even longer lengths. But all I did was cut the paper down so obviously it would fit through the machine, and then I cut the border once and then lined it up, and I didn't even line it up really well. Like, there's some spots, if you were to look super close, although some of them also got covered up by the end, then you can kind of see, but it's grass. I mean, grass isn't perfect anyway, right? So they also have cloud border dies if you would rather have the border dies and not the stencil, and you could even use the dies on a piece of scratch paper and do the same thing. Might be a little harder to pull the ink onto the paper, but it still would work. You'd just have to practice maybe a little bit. I did cut 3 borders out of the grass because I wasn't really sure which pattern I wanted to use, and I ended up liking all of them. I'm using this one, by the way, really quick with this pink ink because I don't have a pink foam blender tool or the foam end, and I didn't want to make one just to ink this edge, and I didn't really want to I didn't want to use a black or a gray or anything like that. So that's just what I was doing there. Now, that pink and main brush is great, but I'm going to be honest with you, if I had to choose between that and the life-changing brushes, I would definitely do the life-changing blender brushes that you see me use in almost all of this. Now, while I'm talking about the blending, that tree dye that is there, and the floral pieces and the leaf pieces that go with that tree dye are I did ink kind of same way with a little bit of green on the leaves and a brown on the tree, and it's super subtle, and maybe you won't be able to see it. Maybe in the close-up photos you can see it a little better, but it just gives a little bit of dimension. And like I said, I was just having fun playing with this whole layout. So for the grasses here, I am just putting adhesive along the bottoms because I knew I was going to be tucking things underneath, And I wanted them to, and when I cut them with the die, I'm not sure, I think it comes with 2 or 3 dies. I can't remember which one, but I used different ones and I angled them a little bit different. So you can kind of see that the hills are somewhat the same, but not completely the same. That's another trick for that as well. And I am using a 5x7 photo. So this is what this is kind of how I knew I wanted it to go. And I knew there was a lot of Easter eggs. My whole thought was just to make this scene and tuck things into the grass like it's just a grassy wonderland. And boy, I sure had fun playing with this layout. I love it. In fact, I've used up this and another double page layout that will be coming up soon. I have used a lot of the die cuts, and they're fun. So this piece here, that little guy flying the plane, is actually not a piece I thought I would ever use when I first saw the collection, when they first show sneak peeks and stuff like that. But oh man, I end up actually, I think both layouts have it on there. And you're going to see me play around with it and move it around a lot. So you'll see it kind of, it was one I struggled with. It kind of goes along with the banner thing. To me, it was just like another banner. I couldn't get it to fit. But that tree die is it is by Doodlebug. It must have been like a Doodlebug Sizzix type of collaboration or something. So it is, I don't know if you can purchase it. I found mine through a small scrapbook store on Facebook about a year, 2 years ago. And I was kind of actually regretting after I bought it, like, oh, I don't know, because I don't think the Gemini, mostly use the Gemini for cutting things. And you can't use those in the Gemini. But then I remembered, I looked it up and you can use them in the Cuttlebug. So that worked out. So for my sky, I wasn't even planning on using that hot air balloon. That is a doodle pop, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to go ahead because this is going to go faster than I can even keep up talking. Basically, I liked that doodle pop there a lot, but it was just popped up too high. Like for the scene, because it was high in the air, it should be further back into the background. So I took off one layer there, and keep that layer if you do that. If you take it apart very carefully, you can, it'll still be another piece of the doodle pop and you can still use it like another sticker. And I end up taking another layer off of it later on. And so because I really like the way it looks, I just wanted it to be more in the background. And since this banner said Happy Easter, I wanted to use this as kind of my title on the plane. So I wanted him to look like he was closer up. So I put him on some foam tape, and that way I could also play around. You can see I really wasn't sure. He doesn't look so good now, but once all the other pieces are on, like the tree and that, then, the leaves and the flowers on the tree. Anyways, I think I was talking about that die. I got it. I don't know if it is still available. If you're interested, let me know, and maybe I can see if Doodlebug has them. I'm not really sure. Like I said, just let me know. But it also has those big leaves, and those flowers are die cut out of it. Now it does cut the center of those flowers, but they get kind of stuck in the die itself. I've never used a Biggs die before. It's one of those big thick foam ones that'll cut through a lot of stuff. So the circles for the center of the flowers got stuck, but I wasn't worried about that because I just knew I would fill them. I knew I had enamel dots to match this collection, so I was going to use that. Now you're going to see me play around a ton. I'm just literally like the sizes. I wanted something to go on the right-hand side of the photo just to kind of fill in that little small area. I found this die cut with the little bunny and his little butt coming out of the bucket, and I love that. I think it is so cute. So that's going to go on there, and I'm not gluing anything down at this point. So then also as well, I saw these fence pieces and I thought, oh, these would look really good on here. However, I've already glued down the tree, and I didn't glue it with just ATG. I glued it with wet glue. So you guys know it's not coming up. So I'm going to fuss and fiddle with it quite a bit. I probably could have put it on top and it would have been okay. But what I did kind of was line it up there and cut it a little bit so it would maybe go under there a little easier. But I'm going to tell you, I cut it a little wrong, and that's okay. There is a tiny piece where it doesn't meet the tree, and that part never really gets covered up, but I'm totally okay with that. I don't mind at all. So you can see I'm trying to get it to tuck underneath the tree, but there is a couple little tiny pieces of that fence that are left over that I do add, or just I guess one tiny little piece. You can see where the fence on the right, or excuse me, the left. I cut that off, and I do add that to the very right hand side of the photo just to kind of give it a continuous look. And I think it really, that didn't even need it. But like I said, I was playing and I was having fun. I contemplated putting it here to make it look like it was going all the way behind the photo, but I just wasn't liking the way that it was lining up. So I am going to put it over here on the right hand side. And guys, this layout took me quite a while, but I enjoyed it. And that part was fun. You know, making this scene is something I don't usually do. So I say give it a try. It was a lot of fun just to play with all these elements and different things. This guy says Happy Easter on his little wagon, so I thought maybe I'd put him there instead of the um, guy in the sky, but he was so big and I didn't want him to totally cover up the tree, although he looks pretty cute there. I didn't want him to cover up that entire fence and the tree, and um, and then if I moved him over too far to the right, he would cover up the photo a little bit. So where the fence and the tree don't match up very well is, at least on the bottom part, is getting covered up by that bunny that's jumping now. And then these eggs, oh my gosh, even if you don't like the Easter collections from Doodlebug, get these eggs. They are adorable. If you do any kind of Easter scrapbooking, they, I got a few packs of them because I know every Easter layout you use, they will work. And I'm going to tuck them all over the place on this layout. And I'm planning on using them. There's the eggs there on their shaped sprinkles, and I will leave a link below to those because and in person they are so much prettier than they even are on video and online. These are probably, if I had to pick one favorite thing they've ever made, this is it. So and like I said, I'm tucking them everywhere. I have that brown bunny. At first I had the ephemera brown bunny over on the right hand side of the photo, and I trimmed it down off some of the white piece. Oh, you can see it there on the screen. But he was just a little too big for what I wanted there, and because I didn't want the photo to get too lost on the layout. And so I used the sticker, and the sticker worked. The sticker's holding a little carrot, and so I tucked another egg behind that brown bunny as well. And then I got the idea to possibly cover up any kind of like wrong spots or different spots, or just to give even a little more interest, to take some of this other border. I was going to add this fourth border down to the bottom. It was just a piece of the other half of the grass pattern paper that I cut with that border, but then I realized the grasses would be upside down. So I used them in small little areas instead. So at this point, I have all of the leaves on the trees that were part of the die, and the flowers that were part of the die as well. Now with the leaves, I have one of each glued flat to the page and one of each popped up on foam tape, and the flowers that were part of the die popped up on foam tape. And then these sticker flowers, I knew these were in here. That's why I wasn't worried about cutting more leaves and stuff like that. Some of these are flat to the page, and some, like this one, I'm popping up, just adding a little bit more to the tree because there was a couple bare spots to it. And there are these tiny little hearts on this page too. Don't forget your little sticker sheets. Look for the little tiny pieces because they really can make a big difference as well. I tried to use those. I do use some, maybe it's on the next layout, but we will see. I can't remember how I do everything in this layout, but I just kept playing. And here is another of their shaped sprinkles. So there were these little chicks that are, some of them are half in the egg. And at this point, I just put down the one that's half in the egg. And then I realized on that little sprinkle sticker sheet, they actually have the other part of the broken eggshell. So I'm going to tuck it in the grass up there later on behind him too. And then they had this bunny jumping sign. So I figured I would go ahead. I thought that would be a cute little add-on, but it was going to be tucked behind everything. So I took the bottom part that's just a little bit of grasses and flowers and cut it off from the sign, and then I added it below. And that's going to be another little area where there's stuff that's fun. I do have that sunshine. That sunshine, I want to say, is part of one of the doodle pops, but I don't know which doodle pop because I pulled out a lot of doodle pops for this layout. But then I went ahead and I decided just to commit to that Happy Easter plane, and I like him. I'm going to add a little more around him, I think. So stay tuned for that. But here again, I'm playing with more of these grass layers. And this not only gives me a little bit more interest to the layers of the grass, but it gives me more places to tuck things in that are kind of on one layer of grass, but behind another layer of grass to make it look like it's, layered. So my biggest thing with this layout is I struggled with that center area because when I was putting these other things down, I wasn't really thinking about that center area. And I am going to really, really kind of struggle with that area, filling it in. I'm happy. I'm really happy with the layout in the end. I think after I turn off the camera, I still played a little bit more, not thinking I would add as much stuff. So the final shot that you see on the camera will be missing a couple things that you will see that you can see at the still shot photo at the end. But this was so much fun to do, you guys. I hope you guys get this collection and play around with it. And, a lot of you are afraid of the little smiley faces, but they're B-sides and they're Easter eggs. Those are really cute. So they are definitely worth it. And again, I will leave links below. I believe Michelle sold all of hers from my little scrapbook store, but I will leave any links that I find. So, playing around here, I am going to make another little cluster, I think, in around where I added that extra grass, especially since it doesn't go all the way kind of behind. You can tell it's just been added separately. And I'm really trying all different things. I found this little basket or I guess it's not a basket, it's a little bag of the carrots. Now this one I kind of wish in the end that I would have put it more to the left, like maybe in that bottom cluster, because now I have that brown basket and the brown bunny kind of close to each other. But I'm not even going to worry about it. At this point, it was glued down. I had used wet glue, so I said, that's fine. It looks cute anyway. Here's where I decided to add the enamel dots, and I kept tone-on-tone colors. So the pink one's got the pink, and the blue one's got the blue and purple with purple. I kept it that way because I just thought the page is going to be busy enough, so that would give it a little bit of easier flow to it. It was kind of my thoughts on that. And then again, I hadn't glued down that yet, but I guess I'm gluing that bag of carrots down now. I really like that little bag of carrots. Then there was this little guy with the wagon. I mean, there are so many cute elements to this collection that I'm just blown away. So I think I think I end up putting him or somebody else here. The little bunny that has the wagon that says Happy Easter was too big, but I want to say the one that's on the sticker sheets was just a little too small. And I'm not sure, but I want to say that sticker didn't say Happy Easter on it. So that was kind of why I didn't put that one on there. But I wanted it to just look like a field of bunnies playing all over, some chicks, flowers. Some of these little flowers I'm popping up with some foam tape. Some of them were on the Doodle Pop, so they already had foam tape. And I do make some tiny little clusters, random little mini clusters with one egg. Here's a start of one. A little tiny grass sticker, because they have little tiny grass stickers on the sticker sheet, and a little heart. And there's going to be 3 of those, although I'm going to move them around multiple times. Again, this is the area that I felt was really empty, but I tried. But anything that I added there just didn't look right. So you'll see in the end what I did, and we're almost to the end of it. But let me know what you guys think of this collection below, and this layout too. I mean, is kind of what I meant to say. But if you get this collection, let me know. I love it. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to show you guys my next layout with it. Here is a couple still shot photos, and look at that cute little bunny butt. Oh, I also added some glossy accents onto a few things, like that little bunny's tail and that little bee in between the tree. I popped him up on some foam tape. I thought that worked perfectly. So let me know what you think, guys, and have fun playing. Happy Easter, and I'll see you next time. Bye.